Heavenly Father, we pray that you bless these proceedings. May everything said and done here be according to your will. May it benefit the citizens of this county. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
The Lord was not smiling on the Chicago Bears this week. Roll call.
Mr. Krueger?
Here.
Ms. Burbach? Here. Mr. Heisig?
Here.
Mr. Kennellican?
Here.
Ms. Drainer? Here. Mr. Tonder is absent this evening. Ms. Evans? Also not here. Mr. Koenig?
Here.
Ms. Hefner? Here. Mr. Wagner?
Here.
Mr. Hayes?
Here.
Chairman Little?
Here. Just to announce at the beginning, I've been advised by Ashley Evans that she will be presenting her resignation to the board. She and her husband and child have sold their house quicker than they had anticipated, and have moved as of late December into the county of Greene. So notification will be sent out as soon as we get the letter of resignation. The notification will be sent out to the two party chairs advising of the vacancy, and that will be hopefully forthcoming. Meeting minutes from December 3rd, two meetings, 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., as well as the regular meeting of December 11th. Minutes have been provided in the packets. Is there
Make a motion to approve, Ms. Pring.
motion by Mr. Krueger? Is there a second by Mr. Heitzik? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Audit bills.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the payment of the current bills totaling $407,870.98, which includes the county board compensation of $3,740.87.
Second by Mr. King, motion by Ms. Hilton. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Burbach? Yes. Mr. Heisig?
Yes.
Mr. Kennellican?
Yes.
Ms. Drainer? Yes. Mr. Koenig?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Chairman Little?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Public comment. Any questions, observations?
Hi, Mike Weaver here. The minutes that you just okayed for, or will okay for the last meeting, have an inaccuracy in them. I said that Sandy Hefner was on the board already, the Economic Development Council for Jerseyville, not Gary Krueger. And I said that at the time that there needs to be some conflict of interest rules put in place, because it can cause a conflict. To say that someone is just a private citizen on a board doesn't really hold water if that person can be involved in negotiations that are withheld at a board level, for example. And we certainly don't know what goes on at the Economic Development Council, because those are not public. So the obligation that everybody here has here is to their electorate, not to a board that you're appointed to or asked to join. So with that in mind, there needs to be something that this county does with regards to, if somebody else is on a board of some other entity, there needs to be some accountability. This county has significant issues with regards to development that's going on right now. And it seems as if everybody just kind of ignores it and keeps on wanting to do whatever the city says, oh, we need this, or oh, we need that. And it's essentially a conflict for anyone that lives in the county, because the city wants to carve away things and assets that are, kind of county assets at this point. And once it goes into a TIF district and people start losing tax revenue, then people have to start looking for other ways to get it, and it costs people money. So we've got the development of the railroad. We've got a water entity that wants to come in here and pump millions of gallons of water out. And the last meeting, the chairman says, oh, well, we've got an economic development entity that, you know, is part of the tourism committee. Well, considering all the things that we have going on right now, it doesn't seem like we're having monthly meetings or bi-weekly meetings or every 6-week meetings to deal with the economic development, and there is no economic development plan. And we don't even have an economic development entity that money can pass through so we can take federal dollars, because that was dissolved. So not doing anything is making a choice. Refusing to act is making a choice. So I don't understand how people on the board cannot make a choice when 20 years down the road, it can have significant impact on the quality of life for everybody here. Does everybody need to wake up in a dream like George Bailey and live in Stonemont Village or something and realize that, gee whiz, things aren't exactly as they were discussed? I mean, does it take everybody having to wake up in Potterville? I mean, I don't get this. And if you get stopped by a police officer, they do not let you get by with, oh yeah, I've got insurance, or no, I've got a driver's license. You have to prove something. And so far, the development here has been, trust us, it's going to be great. And until you get hard copy that everybody can see, that's not secret, why on earth are you bending over backwards to help these people? It's not logical in any way, shape, or form. The county has less than $300,000 to fix all the roads, their motor fuel tax, for the whole county. And once electric cars get started, the new governor, they're going to want to raise our gas taxes. So there's lots of things that are going to be facing these rural counties, and this county has done nothing to address any of that stuff. You cannot do business the way you used to do it 50 years ago. Now you can, but seriously, we had people in here last time that are putting sheds up with library books in them because the county doesn't have a library system. That's going to draw all kinds of people here, right? Guys, seriously, we have lots of things on our plate, and there needs to be more than just the status quo that's been done in the last 10 or 15 years.
Under the Water Use Act of 1983, if someone or public-private builder is going, this is from the information I obtained from Jeff Blackerby with the Soil and Water Office. Under the Water Use Act of 1983, if someone or public-private builder was going to develop a point of withdrawal of over 100,000 gallons on any day, they would need to do notice of intent with the local SWCD, Mr. Blackerby's office. I
Now you realize that he knows
No,
that
no,
because
no,
I'm the one that called it.
I have the floor now. This is Mr. Blackerby's email to me, I have been here for 30 years and never received notice of intent that even came close to 100,000 gallons a day. We did not get notice of intent from the Jersey County Rural Water for their proposal for the new wells for their new system. I did see in the paper there was an environmental impact study completed since they are using federal funds with USDA rural development on that project. If we did receive an intent for high water use, the Jersey County SWCD would have to turn the request over to the Illinois State Water Survey and the State Geological Survey for review. We just don't have the personnel to conduct the study. In fact, I'm the only staff member for our agency, and several of the local SWCDs have no staff at all. Once again, this is because the state of Illinois has not funded the SWCDs to the level needed. I believe the individual that you are talking about at the public comment portion has stated that the county board has not funded the SWCD, and that is not true. We are funded through IDOA, To address your question about whether the aquifer does have a limited amount of water, I have no idea. We have been given no maps to that aquifer, or to what aquifer, where it is at, what type of wells, how much it will be withdrawn. I've heard it is near the city of Jerseyville's well, but not sure. We are erosion control and surface water specialists. That is why it's hard for us to make studies on groundwater issues. As far as the Jersey County SWCD stand on the proposed Mid-America Gateway International project, I want to make it very clear that we, as an agency, do not have a stand on that or the proposed new water project by the Jersey County Rural Water Company. We have not received any information concerning either of these projects on what environmental effects it would have on the land and landowners here in Jersey County. My board and myself have briefly talked about both projects, but we have never discussed any position on either. We simply do not have any information on either project. On the matter of, I was saving this for the chairman's report, on the matter of an economic development entity, the EDA through the U.S. Department of Commerce has now reversed its position on utilizing the West Central Development Council as an entity to deal with EDA grant funding. They do need to update the Community Economic Development Strategy document, but at least that will not cause counties to have to pony up collectively around $50,000 to $65,000 for a new SIDS document. So there is, and I've asked that a special meeting be called with West Central, and hopefully that will seems to be coming together for January 23rd or 24th. So the various county board chairs, members of the West Central Development Council, as well as other county economic development officials will be in attendance at that meeting to start the process and develop a stratagem for updating the SIDS document. So that will be your, not only the economic development engine to be revived, but at less money. I realize that it's popular to criticize certain programs or projects, particularly if you don't have the necessary information to make it a credible criticism, but therein lies the problem in trying to develop something that is primarily a private entity that's funding something with public entities hopefully having a hand in developing the infrastructure through federal funds to help pay for those items. So that's, right now, that's the project in a nutshell. As finally for, I hope I don't have to explain this yet again, any member of the county board serving on another entity, unless they're appointed by the county board, represents their own interest in trying to serve on a board or committee. If you serve on your local church board, you're serving as an individual and a member of that church, as opposed to a member of the Jersey County Board. You're not representing the county board. You are representing your own interest in trying to serve on a separate board, whether it's church or township or school board or any other entity. So this has been brought before the state's attorney regarding a so-called conflict of interest. The state's attorney's opinion, at least to my face, has been there is no conflict of interest. There are conflict of interest laws in the state of Illinois, and there are economic interest requirements, and there are also requirements for us to adopt certain ethics ordinances based upon a mandate by the state of Illinois. We have done that, and thus far there's been nothing from the state's attorney that would indicate any problem in Ms. Hefner serving on the intermodal board or that particular project, just as there's no problem in this board appointing Mr. Kruger to represent the county board as its primary touchstone to that entity. That's all I have. Is there anything else?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening. Would you please state your name?
Yes, my name is Becky Crum,
Okay.
and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you this evening.
You're welcome.
Mid-American International Gateway Business Park was announced March 2nd, 2018. I have asked some questions in the local newspaper, but haven't received any answers. I am asking Chairman Don Little, and Chairman of the County Board, and Sandra Hefner, Vice Chair, to answer some questions that I have prepared and to provide a document, and I'll give you a copy of this.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I want a certified copy of Timothy Carr's master thesis. Timothy Carr is Senior Sales Account Executive from Kansas City Southern Railroad. According to the Illinois Business Journal, he wrote his master's thesis for this specific site. Regarding Highway 67, I don't need a traffic impact study from Bartlett and West to know that putting any more large trucks on the road to and from Jerseyville to Delhi in its current state would be a dangerous situation. This project should be put on hold, meaning the Mid-American International Gateway Project, until such time as the rest of the bypass is complete. I'd like to know if Bartlett and West is in any way affiliated with Stonemont Financial Group or Kansas City Southern Railroad, and have they worked with them in the past? According to the Illinois Business Journal, they are well-versed in railroad business. As of today, January 8th, 2018, I am still unaware of how this facility will affect the safety of the residents of Jerseyville, what this facility is going to cost the taxpayers, whether the Mid-American International Gateway will ever pay any real estate taxes, and exactly what the immediate 1,000 jobs are that were announced almost a year ago. I have asked how many trains would be coming through the town, how long the trains would be, and how long the residents would be without access to police, fire, or ambulance service while the train is passing. These are not private investor, private business questions. They are questions the City Council, the County Board, and the Jerseyville Economic Development Council should be answering to the taxpayers of Jersey County and the residents of Jerseyville. I am a little suspicious that you have no good news to tell me that this project is going to cost me, that the only ones who will be benefiting from this is the private business and the private investors. I'm sure it's a question a lot of people are asking, are there any private investors from Jerseyville, Jersey County? I would like the TIF, the enterprise zone, and the free trade zone to be explained to me. I would also like to know, and this has been addressed by Chairman Don Little about the West Central Development Council, but I'll read it since it's in my paperwork. I would also like to know what happened with the West Central Development Council Incorporated. The 9/12/18 article in the Jersey County Journal said, and I'm quoting, West Central recently lost its ability to handle economic development grants due to a mismanagement of paperwork. West Central Council has been removed from future eligibility to participate in any grants through the U.S. Department of Commerce Economic Development Administration Office. Now, according to the June 6, 2018 newspaper article in the Jersey County Journal, papers were to be filed for some grants for this MAIG project through the EDA. The paper indicated that the grant can be up to $4 million and greater, or it could be less. And my question was, does this mean no grants are available from the EDA for this project? Who will be paying back the $2 million loan from the United States Department of Agriculture Rural Economic Development Loan and Grant Program secured by Representative Rodney Davis for NJM that Jersey County Rural Water Department is going to use to develop the infrastructure outside of the MAIG? Does a loan versus a grant mean that it did not generate enough jobs to be worthy of a grant? What is it going to cost to provide police and fire protection to this facility? Will the MAIG be paying any taxes to pay for these services? And has anyone on the Jersey County Board traveled to Mexico to meet with the Mexican government?
I'll answer the last one. No. Any entity would pay real estate taxes, property taxes. Now, if there's we'll take this a bit at a time. If you want to leave your questions, I will farm them out to the appropriate parties to try and get answers for you. A TIF district is formed when on the premise of trying to generate funds for improvements within that area. Normally, the requirement is a blighted area. My knowledge is no TIF district has been formed yet for that particular entity because that entity lies outside of the corporate limits of the city of Jerseyville. They would have to be the owner of a piece of property can request to be taken into annexed into a municipality's area of jurisdiction unless it's a home rule entity. This is not a home rule. Jerseyville is not a home rule municipality, at least to the best of my knowledge. So they would have to invite the city of Jerseyville to annex that particular area within the corporate limits of the city of Jerseyville. A TIF district, when it's formed, the TIF entity retains any increase in value of the assessed valuation from the time that the TIF district is formed to when it expires. The best example is when, after Grafton formed, I think, 3 different TIF districts. The primary one was the downtown area for economic development purposes and for infrastructure improvements. From 1994, you have to give me a little leeway as far as when that was formed, until it expired last year. It went, I believe, from roughly $3.5 million in assessed valuation to around $17 million in assessed valuation. The amount of money retained by Grafton was used based upon their legal requirements for infrastructure improvements, sidewalks, streets, maybe water lines, sewer, things along those lines. As long as they made the improvements within the boundaries of what state statute calls for, what you can use TIF money for, that's what they utilized it for. Now, when it expired, all the various taxing entities had one shot at then claiming their portion of of what the TIF or the assessed valuation was at that time, at least in 2018. Jersey County's portion was roughly 144, maybe 145,000, which we did that whenever we passed our budget and levy last November. So nobody gets away without paying taxes, but if TIF district the district retains the increase in value from when the start is and then each year until the TIF district expires. Normally it's
How wide of a swatch? How many real estate properties are going to be?
I have no idea. You need to address that to the city of Jerseyville. So I don't know. Normally, the protocol is, I know with Grafton, whenever they formed their TIF district 20 plus years ago, they brought information to the county board. And the county board or any other entity has no ability to stop the formation of a TIF district. That lies strictly within the authority under Illinois statute on the formation of TIF district. In this case, presumably it will be Jerseyville that would do the formation. They have to map out the areas to be affected, and then the protocol is that they will provide the county board, the library district, any townships, the school districts, any other taxing district with the information of this is what they plan to do. And
Does the individual tax homeowner, are they notified?
no, well, I don't know. I've never been in a TIF district, so I don't know whether they would receive notification or not, but it won't, you'll still be paying the normal tax rate based upon what the city of Jerseyville does as far as increase, lowering, remaining the same as far as their rate. It's the assessed valuation of whether the value of your property goes up, goes down, remains static. But it's the TIF district that retains any increase in that.
My other question is, if this CEDS is,
CEDS is a community economic development strategy. It is a document that takes in
That is
all
to
of
be-
the aspects of a particular area. The last time that there was an up-to-date CEDS document was back in 2014 or 15 through West Central Development. They now have the ability, they handle two different items. One, community development block grants, of which the Nutwood levee district, there was a replacement of a pump system that was close to 100 years old. They had applied, I believe in 2015 or 16, for a grant, a CDBG grant, Community Development Block Grant. It was awarded through the Illinois Department of Economic and DECO acronyms here.
Mhm.
My apologies.
if there's any
Well,
changes made,
let me finish. So that was in the amount of around $360,000. Part of that, just use round figures, part of that grant contained administration fees of roughly $24,000. The problem that West Central ran into is that the individual that was handling the administration of that grant played fast and loose with his reporting, and he got caught at it, and there was not, from what I consider, there was not an adequate amount of oversight coming from the administrators at West Central Development Council, of which I sit on the board, but the director was not providing what I would consider enough oversight on that. He gets caught, he loses his job, and in order for West Central to dig itself out of a hole, I, along with several county board chairs, developed some reforms on oversight that was reviewed by the folks with the state of Illinois, who serve as the conduit for funds from the federal government through the state and then eventually the local entities. They approved of what we were proposing, and then the board as a whole adopted those reforms, in which similar things are being done right now as far as the oversight on that grant or on that project with the Nutwood Levee District pump project that's now being administered through Hennigan and Associates. We have also administered other projects like that, not necessarily in Jersey County, but they were recommended by the state agency that provided the grant funds. So they do the same thing as far as oversight and making certain that not only the Nutwood Levee District Board reviews what has been submitted for payment, but also I review as well, so that everybody is on the same page. But West Central has partially dug itself out of that hole. They are now able to go back into the business, so to speak, of applying for and hopefully receiving community development block grants for various projects within the 7-county region.
Do you know if any applications have been made by, for this Mid-America International Gateway for EDA grants from June to September?
Not yet, because there's not an up-to-date CEDS document. That will be the next step. Hopefully we'll get started on that with the calling of a special meeting sometime in the latter part of January. Unfortunately, the federal government partial shutdown affects anyone coming down from Chicago with the Economic Development Administration. So I don't know that we're going to be able to get somebody to come down there in order to meet with the West Central Board as well as other economic development officials, and mostly over on the eastern side of the region.
What are your plans? How do you plan to make this available for public viewing for 30 days?
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to overstep my bounds here, and I mean no disrespect whatsoever, but this is way beyond public comment. Would it be more appropriate to schedule a meeting with Ms. Crone where you can address those questions?
If you would like to provide a copy,
Yes.
and I'll farm this
Not
out.
anywhere on there, about 7 or 8.
Okay. All right.
Yes, just the highlighted questions.
Okay, thank you. My apologies. I get
No,
talking
that's-
policy
That's
and
why, again, I mean no disrespect whatsoever.
I would suggest that after, with the business meeting, we can have a roundtable discussion with them, with Mr. Weaver and Ms. Crone.
Okay. We have nothing for old business, other than what the elaborate discussion we've already had already. Under new business, a resolution of sympathy for the family of William R. Bill Hedger. Mr. Hedger is the father of Rob Hedger, the executive director of the JERSEYVILLE 911 and emergency services. It's been our practice, if a family member passes, whether it's an employee who has a family member or member of any of the appointed officials or elected officials, we want to try and honor that individual and the family. As a matter of course, Mr. Kane, is there a second? Ms. Turbine. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Again, Rob, my sympathies to you and to your family on the loss. I know it's tough. Committee reports, Road and Bridge, Mr. Kruger.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tom's got a couple of things to discuss with us.
First thing I have is a resolution that's in your packet. It's a county maintenance resolution. It's for appropriating $291,970 from the county motor fuel tax fund for maintenance operations for the county highway department on the county highways. So I need a motion to approve the resolution as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Heising, second by Mr. Kane. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Mr. Heisig?
Yes.
Mr. Nelligan?
Yes.
Ms. Rayner?
Yes.
Mr. Koenig? Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Chairman Whittle?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Ms. Kurback?
The other item I have was just to discuss with you is the Spire STL pipeline road use agreement. To give you a little background, since the last, I think in December, I had come and kind of filled you in on what was kind of going on at that meeting in regard to the road use agreement. I have received a copy of the road use agreement to be reviewed. I have reviewed it pretty in detail here in the last couple of days. It is similar to what was approved in Greene County. They settled in Greene County before it went to court. The attorney for the county and the townships worked it out. It really wasn't what Greene County wanted, but they settled. They forwarded on here to Jersey County for me to look at. I've looked at it. I mean, I don't feel it's really what we want to go with either, but I feel we're probably going to agree to it. In discussions with the townships right now, having them kind of look it over to make sure to see what they are, because they ultimately have to sign off on it. You probably have saw in the paper this morning, if anybody to get the Telegraph, they have started moving equipment into the area. Michael Construction or Michael Pipeline, we've set up a couple staging areas. One's out on Fosterburg Road off of 255, and one is down in Alton. So, and I've had some discussions with the contractor. They are getting ready to start, I know, in St. Charles County, getting ready to bore underneath the river and stuff. So it is inevitable this is going to happen. Yes, want to see what the board is. I think the motion was made at the last board meeting that the board chairman had to sign the road use agreement for approval for the county board. I don't know if you want to still do it the same way, or if you wouldn't want me to sign the road use agreement. I guess I'm bringing it before the board and how you want to do it. I have no problem with bringing it back before the board with my approval. It happened in February, at the February meeting. They would just have to understand that Spire pipeline.
Has the document, I assume it has been reviewed by the Road and Bridge Committee as far as?
We left it up to our highway engineer and the state's attorney pretty well.
And I haven't given it to the state's attorney. I mean, he probably what he's going to do, I'll be honest, he's just going to glance over and say, you know, that's what it is. I mean,
This is what was agreed to pretty much between the lawyers and the court in Greene County.
Yeah.
And it's probably, unless we want to spend a lot of time fighting it, I don't think we would get much better.
I agree. I mean, I could ask for a couple things, but I think I think they would come back and say, hey, file a complaint against us or whatever. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Was there any improvement, I know we've talked about this, was there any improvement from when things started?
Yes.
In Greene County to make it a little more
Yes.
palatable?
Yes, it did. Yes, we got pre and post inspection of the roads, permits, and there's guarantees in there in regard to construction costs, and I mean, videotaping beforehand and afterwards of the roads, so we can have good documentation. I mean, those all be done by third-party engineering firms and that type of thing. So yes, that was all included in there, and
Those costs paid for by whom?
by Spire.
Okay.
By Spire. By Spire. Yes, we won't bear it. The townships or us do not bear any of those costs.
And what's the process for selecting the third party? Is it our choice or?
That is their choice, but there are firms listed in there, but they also have to be pre-qualified with IDOT and deal with road construction, in engineering, dealing with roads. They can't be an architect or anybody like that.
Okay.
Those were things that were specifically put in. I had a lot of discussion with the county engineer in Greene County on that. We kind of talked about things in great detail. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I can anybody to look at. I mean, the document's about 14 pages long, but with all the permits that are in there, it's about 80 pages long because of the road crossings that they have with the county and the township roads and the accesses they need to get in off of some of the county highways and township roads.
It's the same document you sent me.
I think I sent you like the 14-page one. Maybe I can't remember, Don. We had a lot of different ones. One that I had was from, did I send you one from Nick Graham, I think?
It may have been the one from,
Or did I send you?
Green County.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I have two different, I have the one that was executed by Green, it wasn't executed, but that was the one that was signed by Green County. And then I received another one, it was modified from Green County to Jersey County, and then it had all the associate documents attached to it and everything else. And I have a meeting with that person tomorrow morning to go over some things that I want to have done, change in regard to the permits, things of that nature.
What's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion, we just go ahead and give Tom the right to sign the document.
I mean, I could point out that maybe the board could give whatever the county engineer works out or in discussion, and then the board chairman could sign it, if you would like to do it that way too. But I mean, that's up to you.
It makes no
I have no
difference.
problem signing it as a county engineer. I don't, I sign permits and that type of thing, so I just wanted to see what the board's feelings was in
My
front.
own concern or interest was to make sure that the board was part of the deliberation process.
Yeah.
It's already been submitted or at least reviewed by the Road and Bridge Committee. If the county board is satisfied in granting the authority or delegating to the county engineer for acceptance and signature, I'm fine with that. I would have a motion by Mr. Krueger to authorize the.
Authorize Tom to
Right.
approve.
Who's second? I'll second. All right, Mr. Connelly. Let's do a roll call on this one.
Mr. Cannelligan?
Yes.
Ms. Greener? Yes. Mr. Koenig?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Chairman Little? Yes. Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Ms. Kerbach? Mr. Heisey?
Yes.
And,
That's all I have, Mr.
all right,
Chairman.
thank you very
Thanks.
much. County Service, actually, it's County Services and Public Safety Committee, Mr. Wagner.
On December 19th, this committee met and discussed the document that was in your packet, and I thought I had updated what was in the packet, but there's a couple changes here. On the first page, Deputy Womack's vehicle has 135,000 miles on it. I just have 100,000 plus. And Deputy Clunk's vehicle has 103,000 miles on it, not 69,000. This is our current listed roster of deputies and the vehicles that they have available to them. We have no backup vehicles, and currently our sheriff is driving an unmarked vehicle with no lights or siren or radios in it, so he cannot respond to calls in an efficient manner. The question was asked at the meeting, and I did not have the answer. The chief deputy was at an emergency, and he was the one that knew the answer. We did have 3 backup vehicles prior to this. 2 vehicles had 150,000 plus miles and needed more repairs than what vehicles were worth, so the previous sheriff got rid of them. I don't think anybody has a problem with that. And 1 vehicle actually went to Deputy Womack, which this is the vehicle he's driving that has 135,000 plus miles. That vehicle, again, needed service done to it, and it was gonna cost more than the vehicle was worth. And then unfortunately, we also had a vehicle totaled out by one of the deputies. So that's the current roster of the vehicles that they have available to them. And as you can see, I even made a note in there that Chief Deputy Kloss used his personal vehicle one time when his vehicle was being serviced, simply because we have no backups. If you turn to page 2, this was all the options that we looked at and discussed. And the best option available to us is right above the Missouri Highway Patrol that says 2 Explorers that cost $72,577 and 2 sedans that cost $65,580 for a total of $138,157. That buys us one 2018 Ford Explorer, one 2019 Explorer, and two 2019 sedans. Page 3 discusses the budget issues. The sheriff's office is currently budgeted for $50,000 and hasn't been updated since 2002. The price of vehicles have went up significantly since then. The SA, the state attorney's office, may have a forfeiture available. You know, this is a question. You know, the case hasn't been adjudicated yet, but it looks like we're probably going to get this money, but I can't guarantee it 100% until it actually goes through court proceedings. And then I also listed the money that's currently available in the public safety fund and what we've had for anticipated income and expenses for the last couple of years. So what the committee recommended was adding $88,157 to the sheriff's department fund so that they could purchase 3 additional vehicles. They currently had enough money to purchase one on their own, which they did because we have a deputy right now with no vehicle. So they're trying to expedite that vehicle, and we're looking for the additional funds to purchase 3 more vehicles. And Mr. Chairman, I make that form of a motion that we add $88,157 from the public safety fund, transfer that to the Jersey County Sheriff's Department.
Would the committee be satisfied with simply allocating that amount of money for the specific purpose of, short of having to then amend the budget, we can still make it reflect for the end of the year or the end of the fiscal year coming up in November, but authorize the use of that amount of money for the purpose of purchasing the vehicles?
Yes.
Get all of that? Okay. All right, motion by the committee chair, Mr. Wagner, who's second? Ms. Kerback. Sheriff, will that take care of your vehicular needs for at least the balance of the fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay. I would, because it's been the board's position, we have not cut anything as far as we've basically approved what has been presented to the finance, and then finance has presented that to the board, and that's been for the last several years, the position of whatever's been presented. There may be questions asked, but if this will get people through or department or office through, then we've been in agreement with that. We've never cut anything that's been presented to the finance or to the county board. But you may want to take stock of your inventory and to get ready for the next fiscal year to see what needs may be. And we can have that conversation between you and Chief Deputy Klaus and the finance committee, and then hopefully the county board as well. But I want to make sure that you have the tools to do your job.
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or? Okay. Got a motion? Second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Koenig?
Yes.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Chairman Little?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Ms. Kerback? Tyson?
Yes.
Mr. Pinelican?
Yes.
Ms. Drainer? Yes.
All right. Place your order.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all very much.
Anything else from the committee?
No.
Okay, thank you. County officials report, county clerk report. Got tax deed resolution.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. A tax deed resolution, which is one of these that we get from time to time, where the taxes were not paid on the property, no one bought the taxes at tax sale, so they ultimately are being held Jersey County as trustee, and our agent has those properties up for sale through sealed bid. Common practice that when, this one's in the village of Fielden, if the municipality wants to purchase those properties, they kind of get first dibs at getting that for minimum bid if it's their intention to tear it down. And that's, I think maybe they've already had an ad in the paper that for George Fielden, if they're looking for a contractor to tear it down. So this derelict property in Fielden is being purchased by the village of Fielden to be torn down and take action on it from there. So this requires county board resolution to make the deed to the village of Fielden.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Heisler, Ms. Rayner, any discussion? Roll call. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Anything else?
Yes, with the resolution on transfer of funds. This one is an annual deal that, in preparation for the audit, any funds where, for FY18, where there may have been a deficit in a department, it requires county board authorization to move money from contingency, basically, or from some other fund that had a surplus, to bring the deficit back up to zero. That's what the auditors like for us to do. $152,156 was budgeted in contingency last year for this purpose. The changes total $84,170.50, pardon me, in monies that will be moved from contingency to cover deficits. There was a line in county board professional services, there's a line in coroner autopsies, building maintenance for janitor salary, janitor hospital insurance, a couple of small amounts where it ran short. Building maintenance for general maintenance and repairs to buildings, and for contractual and rental services. So primarily the funds are to the coroner for autopsies, which is something that's pretty tough to predict, and under building maintenance where projects took that fund into a deficit. Simply transferring money from contingency to cover those deficits.
I'll make the motion if I can do it all in one motion.
It's all in one resolution.
Motion by Mr. Krueger, second by Mr. Hayes. Any discussion or questions? Call the roll.
Ms. Hefner?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Hayes?
Yes.
Chairman Little?
Yes.
Mr. Krueger?
Yes.
Ms. Purback? Mr. Heisey?
Yes.
Mr. Knelliken?
Yes.
Ms. Drainer?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay. Sheriff, did you have any, I know you submitted some stats, did you have any comment or anything on, related to, I think there was some statistics. I'm misreading. Did you submit anything as far as information purposes to the
No,
board?
it's just letting you know what we did for the month of December.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Supervisor of assessments, Crystal, you off the bat. One item before she makes her report, one of the, are there any of the vehicles in which the, I guess a console can be cannibalized for use to hold a computer whenever the assessors are out doing the assessments?
We can try and see if we can get something, for you.
Actually, not any of the vehicles I were being, like, sold or anything.
And we'll see if we can come up with something. Nothing else from the Ford Motor Company over there that has the police packages and has the contracts for everybody. They may even have something old laying around. They can't get into a new vehicle, so I can certainly try and call.
Okay, all right, thank you. Crystal?
Hello. So, the past several months, we've been meeting with the townships with the vacant townships that do not have assessors to, either have my office take care of the work for a fee that was figured at the cost study that Bellwether did, or have them get an assessor, appointed, elected, or contracted. I did receive 4 intergovernmental agreements signed from my office to do the work at the fee that Bellwether figured. And I'm sure all of you have copies of them. I just need those signed, if I could, so that we can start doing the work.
There were the ones in there, Paisaw Township came in late, but it is part of the agenda. It's Quarry, Elsa, Otter Creek, Rosedale, Multi-Township, Senate, Paisaw Township, and then that's it.
Right.
All right. Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreements between Jersey County and the respective counties?
I'll make the motion.
Ms. Hefner, is there a second? Second. Mr. Canal. Any other questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
There are payments. Thank you. Crystal, I appreciate too the amount of work that you and your office did in putting this information together. It was a difficult task, but much appreciated, and I think it'll do well for the townships as well as the county on getting accurate assessments.
Thank you.
Nothing else. Chairman's report. Have a request from the Jersey County Housing Authority for the reappointment of Joe Hennigan for a 3-year term running from February 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2024. I'll make that a motion. Second.
That's 5 years.
Yes, it is.
I have the letter, but
I do. Well, I know the board secretary was in contact with Ms. Cronin, but we've got the wrong dates. It is for a 3-year. Gene, are they 3 or 5-year terms?
5.
5. Okay. X out 3, insert 5. All right, who made the motion? So moved. All right. Mr. Isaac, second by Mr. King. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Appointment to the Field and Fire Protection District Board for a term that start commencing February 10th, 2019 to February 10th, 2023. Ted Devening, John Gasway, Roger Lott, Dean Montgomery, Harold Volstead, and Tony Wadlow. Is there a motion? Mr. Caney, second by Ms. Hefner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Appointment of County Board Representative to Prairie Council on Aging, term commencing January 1st, 2019 to December 31st, 2021. This will be Mr. Kruger. That's no commentary on any need for services.
One second.
All right. Mary, did you make the motion?
Yes.
All right, nice, Dave. And second by Mr. Canal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Appointment of County Board Representative to Jersey County Board of Health for the term of January 1st, 2019 to November 30th, 2020. Mark Wagner. Mr. Mr. Heitzig. Is there a second? Mr. Kruger. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Committee reassignments. I'd like to submit to the board the removal of Sandy Hefner from Claims Committee and the assignment of Jared Hayes to the Claims Committee in her place, and then the appointment of Sandy Hefner to the Building and Grounds and Subdivision and Land Use Committee. This will make 6 on that committee, but I think that it's an active committee and very important issues. So I will make that motion for the reassignment. Is there a second? Mr. Canal. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. You have in your packet the animal control report for December 2018. Is there a motion to approve that report and place
I'll
it
make a
on file?
motion.
Ms. Hefner, second.
I'll second.
Mr. Graham. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Approval of the committee meeting minutes from December of 2018. Claims, December 11th. Public safety, December 19th. Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Kruger,
I'll make a motion with this, need a spelling correction on the Claims Committee meeting. And Pam knows where it's at.
I will let Kelly know. There was Gary's name was wrongly placed on it within the
Gary
minutes of
Hayes.
the claims committee. Yeah, so, since Kelly transcribes those, I will let her know if you put that correctly.
perhaps maybe we need to make a reappointment to the Council on Aging to, nice pickup. With that correction, is there a motion to approve those minutes as submitted? Mr. Heitzig, is there a second?
A second.
Ms. Hefner, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. In closed session, the only other information I wanted to present on your seats is a copy of a letter from Governor Rauner, which tentatively approves the realignment for Jersey and Calhoun counties from the local workforce innovation area 21 to 22. Hopefully in the very near future, work will start on an intergovernmental agreement between our 2 counties, and that is regarding some of the aspects of personnel, office placement and such. We dealt with the DEA issue. Ms. Evans is resigning. And also is information regarding new officials training that's being sponsored by the Illinois Association of County Officials and the Illinois County Board Members and Commissioners Association for, I believe it's December 24th in Springfield at the Northfield Inn site. This is the first time where we'll be partnering between those 2 organizations. They handle not only single county officials, but also obviously county board officials. The one thing of great interest to me will be county budgeting, but also if you go, there's some other aspects that will give you a taste of other county officials, what they do and how it relates back to county boards. So if you're able to attend, have time to spend until roughly 4:30 that afternoon, I think you will find it informational and personally rewarding. Any second bite at public comment?
I want to do some corrections.
Firstly, I am the one that called the Soil and Water Conservation people for their comment based on the information about the Water Act. The person who answered the phone had no idea that they were responsible for water use, all right? So, this document that he's reading that was generated after my phone call to use it in the way that it's been used is somewhat, it's disingenuous. It really is. It's not anything that's based on anything other than they're covering their behinds, essentially. Does anybody believe that the city of Jerseyville takes out less than 100,000 gallons of water a day? Probably not. All right? So when you're faced with all of these things that are going on, people sit here and there's no discussion. There's no movement towards doing anything that we oversee what someone's going to come and take our resources. It's not going to benefit me if the water table drops 30 feet, and no one has any information as to whether or not that will happen or might not happen. Who knows? Nobody knows. I'm assuming if it's like California, yes, it will fundamentally affect our water table. You pump enough, it doesn't replenish because it's an ancient aquifer. It's not something that comes from the rainwater every day. So with that being said, to say that, oh yes, we do support them as a county, indirectly, the county hasn't thrown any money, and in the same letter it says we don't have any staff. Seriously? Okay. And then to say that people complain that they don't know what they're talking about is ridiculous. To make those kinds of underhanded comments, it doesn't do anything positive at all. This is about us seeing where we go as a county into the future, not just doing business the way we've done it for all these last few years. And this whole thing about the railroad, it's private money, it's private enterprise. The minute they ask for tax concessions, it ceases to be completely private. And that's a fact. Whenever they're asking for tax considerations, it's not private anymore. And when a train comes and cuts part of this county in half, and emergency equipment can't pass, to suggest that this TIF money that they're going to be able to collect if they form a TIF district, which their documents say that they're going to do once they're annexed, that TIF money allows them to take and rebate money back for taxes. It allows them to basically have, for lack of a better term, a slush fund under certain legal conditions that they can do with it what they want. Now, if they're going to put overpasses in place, if they're going to refund the county the money that they've used to put all this stuff together on their behalf, well, you know, maybe that TIF's okay. But if they get to do like they're doing out on 109 and put up signs that say, boy, this project, it's another one due to this TIF district, seriously, why couldn't that entity build that facility there without TIF money? Why did they have to have TIF money to do that? It's virgin ground. It's never been broken. The same thing is true in the railway, bringing in all that stuff. Guys, I understand that people don't want to hear this, but you have to have economic development planning as a county, or else people take advantage of you. And the man at Stonemont Financial collects money from high net worth individuals and provides tax advantaged vehicles for them to invest their money in. The people at the railroad need this site because it is at the end of their line and it is not in Madison County. That is advantageous for them because they don't have to deal with the unions. So with that being said, they need to plant their facility here because it's best for them. Why is there not a certain amount of give and take with regards to the county and the city? I understand you guys aren't part of the city, but there needs to be some pushback in order to get the best deal for these residents that live here. Because nobody from Stonemont's going to be living in Jerseyville. The guy from Kansas City Southern that's putting this together, he ain't going to be living here in Jerseyville. So we are going to live with whatever these people do, and they don't live here. So I expect my county board to do more than that, than just let these people dictate to me what's going to happen. So hopefully, it's not personal. It's just like, come on, guys, it's business.
Yes.
If you could, what committee has Sandra Hefner been put on?
Ms. Hefner currently chairs a county board committee of tourism and economic development.
I thought I heard Building and Grounds, Land and Use Committee.
Yes.
What does that entail?
It entails maintenance of every county buildings,
It's Land and Use.
and there are occasions in which any code issues that come out of this office, the code enforcement office, that is run through that committee as well.
This wouldn't be in any way a conflict of interest.
No, ma'am.
Okay, just wanted to check.
You can take that to the bank.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I'll only offer one other observation. Those of us who have run and gone out and knocked on doors occasionally are pressed with the question of, gee, how can we get our kids to stay here in the county and instead of moving away for other economic opportunities? The only way that I can figure, since government does not create jobs, is to look for every opportunity in which private enterprise is willing to invest in the community and possibly serve as an engine for the creation of jobs. Jersey County doesn't create jobs with the exception of whenever there's a vacancy in, I won't pick on your office because you haven't had new employees in a long time. Same way with the city, same way with the township, same way with the library, which is another public entity and a separate taxing body, not affiliated with the county. So if the county has the ability to try and initiate any economic development by encouraging private enterprise to come in and invest and develop with the hope that whatever they're dealing with has a spin-off for other existing businesses or possibly new businesses, new enterprise that employ people, I would think that if you see daylight, that you run to it. Now, there are a lot of questions that, a lot of comments seek to paint a particular picture. This thing has not, as far as I know, not all of the ground has been purchased by the investors who are wanting to do this project. So by saying or insinuating that, well, this is already a done deal, it ain't a done deal. There's a lot of steps that still need to be put into place. But if government can assist rather than serving as an impediment because we don't want any new people, we don't really care that the schools are bleeding students and losing student population, you got to do something. And this is at least the best ray of hope that I've seen in my time on the board as far as any entity coming in here. Walmart opens up, well, there's always the fear that it's going to shut down a mom and pop store. It is, probably will. That's been the reputation of Walmart. However, it also employs maybe more people than that. So it is a dog-eat-dog world out there. And as much as I'd like to have as much fairness and everybody gets a fair shot at things, I don't have that control as board chair or member of the county board. And that's all I have to say. Is there motion for mileage and per diem. Mr. King,
I'll second.
Ms. Grainer. Call the roll.
Mr. Hayes,
Yes.
Chairman Little,
Yes.
Mr. Krueger,
Yes.
Kurback,
Yes.
Mr. Heisig,
Yes.
Mr. Cannalican,
Yes.
Ms. Drainer,
Yes.
Mr. Koenig, Ms. Hefner,
Yes.
Mr. Wagner.
Yes.
The only thing I know that did not make the cut at this time was a letter that came in from the, Sandy, what's the new name of the Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Oh, rivers and routes.
Okay. From the Rivers and Routes seeking their annual resolution of authorization to recognize them as the tourism entity. That will be coming up in February. I've advised them that we didn't make the agenda for this month, so that's an annual thing. Is there a motion? Anything else from the cause? Is there a motion to adjourn? Mr. Heitz, second by Mr. King. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you very much.